Braveheart Workshops, inspiring connection. Restore, renew, and reconnect in community. Live well, laugh often, love much. Join our online connection circles. Be empowered in our virtual live events. Be a guest on our podcast shows. Hire us or be hired for speaking engagements. Enhance hope, health, and healing in your lives. Creating global connections. The Connection Show, sponsored by Braveheart Workshops, live with Jill Reynolds. The Connection Show, inspiring hope, health, and healing in 2021. Sponsored by Braveheart Workshop and live with Jill Reynolds. Joining me today is Randi Ward. Welcome to the show, Randi.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here today. Thank you for inviting me.
Well, I'm so grateful to finally meet you. Where are you joining us from, Randi?
From Metro Atlanta, Georgia.
Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm joining us from Branson, Missouri. So welcome. I would love, Randi, the audience to know a little bit about you. So I'm going to read Randi's bio to everyone. Randi Ward's a retired American language arts teacher. She's a published author, a professional editor, a certified Harmony Life coach, holistic emotional intelligence coach, an NLP practitioner, and communication mastery certified coach. In 2011 to 2012, she taught ESOL in Cairo, Egypt. She is the former owner of the language schools Rise Up and October English Nursery in Egypt. She recently started teaching a monthly virtual English class at Zed School in Algeria for young students. As a serious African animal advocate, environmentalist, and educator, Randi is an honorary president of World Peace Forest in Africa, USA Regional Director for Africa Nomads Conservation, a writer and chief editor for the magazine Morocco Pens e-magazine, Chemo Buddies for Life, and a book consultant coach editor. Randi's a world traveler of 60 countries in 4 continents and has received numerous awards, which I could not list. We'd be here for 3 days, and has been published in many publications. Randi is listed as an outstanding author in 2018 Power magazine and has been on the cover of the 2019 magazine Millennium as a Lifetime Achievement member. She received an award as the 2019 Women of the Year in Writing, and in 2020, the Women of the Year in Language Arts. She's authored her 2012 memoir called Because I Believed in Me, My Egyptian Fantasy Came True. Randi also writes poetry, children and adult stories, novels, and has created 47 YouTube videos and over 140 blogs. Her life philosophy is believe, do not dream big, dream bigger. The sky is the limit, so reach for the stars. And she's only 21 and did all that really early in life.
Yeah, I wish. Yeah, in my head, I'm still 26, but no, actually, I'm not 26, as you know. And by the way, when you read all that stuff, I think, who is that woman? I'm always shocked and blessed with all the honors I get, because all I do is just work hard and try to help others and be inspirational. And when the honors come, I'm really always shocked, Jill. I mean, I really am. It's like, another one? But I'm not doing anything that I shouldn't be doing, you know?
Yeah, you have a destiny and a plan, and I'm going to write it down for you, but so I don't forget. There is an artist. He's now a Christian artist, but he used to be one of the singers in Santana. Remember Santana, the band Santana? His name is Leon Patillo, and I'll give it to you so you can look it up. And he wrote a song in I think it was the 80s, called "The Sky Is the Limit," and that's got to be your theme song.
Yes.
Your theme song, "The Sky is the Limit." When I was reading that, that was the first thing that came to mind, is the sky is the limit.
Well, that is part of my life philosophy. Don't reach, dream for the star, or to reach for the stars because the sky is the limit. Yes.
Yeah,
So I've lived my life that way all through my life. I've
wow.
always been a person that wants to reinvent myself. I get bored easily. I think that's part of it, I mean, when I taught 37 years and retired, I thought this is going to be wonderful because, I taught gifted kids. I was early pioneer in the gifted education in the 70s when they called it TAG, talented and gifted. And my last year of teaching was one of the most wonderful years of teaching I'd ever done in public school in America. But I wanted to do something different. But Jill, I was so bored. I'm not ready for that rocking chair. I hope I'm never going to be ready for that rocking chair unless I'm sitting on the beach or something, looking at the waves. But I just thought, this is not what I want. And I couldn't even find any places that would take volunteers. Nobody wanted any volunteers. That shocked me. Wow. And then when I got the opportunity to go to Egypt to teach, I thought, okay, you talk about spiritual. God told me to go because the first revolution had just ended in Cairo, Egypt. And my husband and son said, you're not going to Egypt to teach at this language school for adults. It's too dangerous. For 3 months, Jill, I kept having these dreams, and I never remember my dreams. This heavenly voice that I took as being the voice of God kept saying, I want you to go to Egypt. These young people need you. I will protect you. Do not listen to your family. Listen to me. Go to Egypt. I swear, 3 months. I would wake up in the morning and I'd say, it can't be just my imagination. This dream is the same every night. I did not tell people that story for many years because I didn't want them to think I was crazy, that I was just imagining this because I really wanted to go. But I went there for 3 months, And ironically, Jill, a week after I got there, the second revolution started. And I was living 3 blocks from Tahrir Square, the center of the violent revolution. I literally listened to people die around me all the time. One night in December 2011, 12 people died and 120 people were injured, 1/2 block from my house, in a gun battle that lasted for 6 hours. I cried the whole night. I listened to the whole thing, but I was not afraid for me, even though I knew people were dying and getting hurt. And silence, there was suddenly silence. I had to get up and go teach. I went to the street where I knew the violence had taken place, and it was surrounded by barbed wire, but there were no people, no trash, nothing, no signs of it except for the barbed wire. And I went to school that day and taught. So when I came home, even though I've been in so many countries, as you mentioned, and I could have written so many stories about my travels, I knew this story had to be taught, had to be told to others. So I wrote my first book because I believed in me. My Egyptian fantasy came true. I know the title is long, but I had a book title contest on Facebook, and 2 Egyptians named it. I wanted it to be about me, but I also wanted it to be about Egypt. So it was perfect. I have 153 photos in my book. 45 of them should not be in there. They were given to me by my friends, and my publisher said the DPI is not good enough. We can't put them in there. My son, who's the art director for Reader's Digest in Germany, said, Mom, the quality is not good enough. You ready? A 15-year-old gifted Egyptian boy said, let me see what I can do. 45 minutes, the DPI of those 45 pictures was raised, and they're in my book, and you can't tell the difference. So this is part of my life philosophy. Believe anything is possible. If you want it to happen, make it happen.
And listen to the voice of God. No matter who thinks you're crazy, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what others think.
Yes.
That philosophy. And, Randi, the same type of epiphany happened to me this year, where God wakes me up at 3 a.m. and he started telling me, Jill, I want you to spread hope, health, and healing in the world. And I said, how in the world, God, am I supposed to do that? And he said, listen to my voice, and I'll tell you. And when you listen to God's voice instead of the world, what amazing things happen. And no one can even grasp what it does to your soul.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, with this book, I didn't tell you that when I came back, the dreams reoccurred again, almost immediately after I got back. And they said, okay, now I protected you. Now you must tell their story. You must write the book. I wrote that book in 3 months. I had all my pictures to help me remember all of my things. And it's a happy book. not just about the revolution, it's about my teaching and all the wonderful experiences and all the wonderful people. But God told me to write this book. And I believe this. I mean, I was destined to write this book, and it changed my life, because then I started my second career. And being an English teacher, I taught all genres. So I write in all genres. I haven't written a play yet, but that's coming. That's one of my goals, is to write a screenplay and have it on the Hallmark Channel, because I'm a Hallmark Channel person. I love happy endings.
Oh, you're so cute. I just love you so much. I couldn't wait to meet you. So what I want to do with you, to go even deeper, because I know you know story, and part of this epiphany, Randi, that I got from God was he showed me. He just showed me, Jill, in the Bible, I always told parables in story, in order for people who did not know me to draw close to me. And he said it's so important for people to hear stories. So like how you just started to share. And so I had a vision in right around the pandemic, Randi, that God said, Jill, I want you to start a podcast show and interview people and connect them to story. So the Connection Show, Randi, is all about connecting dots in our life, taking us back to wherever we want to go. You can go in any direction, and then how those dots led you to where you are today. You started that, but what you're saying. So take us back a little bit further in your life to little Randi growing up. What was your life journey like? The good, the bad, or the ugly, and how did God weave your life to where it is today?
Uh, I wouldn't know. I would like to go back to my college years, but not before that. I had a very challenging childhood. My father was an alcoholic. My mother was this wonderful teacher, but my father was an alcoholic. He never wanted to be a father to my sister and me. And every day of my life until I was 14 and my parents finally divorced, Jill, he would whisper in my ear, "You are so ugly. No man will ever love you." He tried to mentally abuse me. I don't remember him ever physically abuse me. If he did, I blocked it from my mind. But every day, so I grew up believing that I was unworthy of love, that I would never find the love of a man, that even though I was smart, because I graduated as valedictorian in my class, I hid myself in my books. Now, that doesn't mean that I wasn't out there socially, but it was all a facade. I never felt worthy. I always hid in the shadow of other people, but I always hung out with all the elite people, because we had classes together. They always thought I had all this confidence, and I didn't. When I had to give my valedictorian speech, I was terrified. But you know what? I look back I found my valedictorian speech, and it was about believing in oneself. So when I started Marshall University, I decided, this shy little girl is going to reinvent herself. I'm going to find myself. I'm going to allow myself to be opened up. And those 4 years of college, yes, I did find myself better. But Jill, it wasn't until I met the love of my life, my husband, Bill, who passed away sadly from lung cancer on December 15th, 2019, that I found the man that would love me unconditionally. So my father's words that no man would ever love me proved to be false. And my husband would tell me every day of our marriage I was beautiful and how much he loved me. And because of him, and because I had been through so much, I also, by the way, from the age of 15 to 20, did not walk. I hurt my knee in physical education class, my left knee, and it was so bad, Jill, that I had to teach myself to walk so many times, and then I would hurt it again. And I had surgery, and the surgeon messed up my surgery, and I was paralyzed from the knee down. So at the age of 20 or 19, they told me I would never walk again. I taught myself. Everybody gave up on me. I taught myself. So throughout those years, I've had trouble with my knee, and that's been a challenge. I finally replaced it in 2014. But with my husband, getting back to that story, he was everything to me. He believed in me so much. He gave me the strength. He helped to create this crazy woman you see in front of you. It keeps thinking she can do anything she wants and always finds a way to do it. As I said, I'm always reinventing myself. But I also listened to God, because I knew God had a plan for me. And even my husband would say, I love you and I think the world of you. But, God loves you too. And he has a plan for you, Randi. You have to continue, as I always say, not dream big, but dream bigger. And that's how I've lived my life. My husband was a quiet man. He was always kind of behind me. He never wanted to put himself in the spotlight. When he'd introduce himself, he'd say, "I'm Randi's husband," you know, but he was my biggest support. And when I lost him in December of 2019, I was devastated. I mean, I had never been depressed in my life because I was always a positive person. God always gave me the strength. Even when I couldn't walk, I knew I would walk again. I had a car accident in 2014. I broke 8 bones in my body, including my neck. I wore a neck brace for 93 days. I have an 8-inch plate and 6 pins in my arm. I had all these fractures in my body. You know what I did during that time? With my one good right hand, I wrote a 400-page novel on my laptop in 8 months during my physical therapy. I could always find a way, with God's help, to find the strength I needed. But when my husband died, I was a mess. I actually sought professional help. But then I listened on Women's Prosperity Network to Dr. Heather Tucker, and she was going to offer classes on coaching. And I thought, another platform, another way for me to get my messages out there, my motivational messages. So that's when I became those 4 certified coaching certificates from April until July 1st, and started my 3rd career as a visionary book writing consulting coach and master editor. Now my goal is to continue educating. I have 5,000 Facebook friends in 58 countries. I still mentor many young people around the world, but now I want to help people write their story, and then I help them edit it. Wow. And I'm also, as you know, the editor for not only 2 magazines that you mentioned in my bio, but I'm going to be an editor for From My Mama's Kitchen with Johnny Tan. It's for millennial moms, and with Carl Wilson in California, All Women Rock, plus his 3 blazer books, red blazer, white blazer, and or pink blazer and black blazer books. So I'm busy. I just keep moving forward, helping people, reinventing myself, because I know this is what God wants me to do. He doesn't want me sitting in that rocking chair. That's not who I am. I have so much more I can give and share with others, and that's what I try to do.
I love meeting you. Your story is so inspirational, Randi, and God's telling me right now, we're finding a spot for you at Hope Health and Healing. So you're coming you're coming to the conference. You're coming. You have. It's like I just feel the Lord is saying, we'll make room, even if it's a 20-minute slot, because I think it's just so important, Randi, for people to understand the critical of importance of writing story. Yes. And even if you never publish it, to write story is to have your God, whoever it is. I believe in Christianity, but for that story, one person hearing it can save one more person's life. And I can't tell you, when we did the virtual in March, a girl said she was going to commit suicide, Randi, and she got hope by hearing people's story. And so your story just now gives the next person hope and gives the next person hope. And if all we do is sit behind our computer and never share who we are vulnerably with the world, then how do what is all the money to gain if we haven't helped one soul find God or healing in life?
Yes.
It's not worth it.
I totally agree. And I do these things. Listen, during the pandemic, I edited, you ready? 6 books for my friends for free. One of them was 400 pages long. It became an international bestseller. I didn't want money for it. I just wanted to help her. Now, I do want to make some money now, but I'm not going to be one of those astronomical editors that charge thousands and thousands of dollars. But what I want to do is to publish all of those books that I haven't published. I had such a horrible experience with my publishing company that I didn't publish anything except, what I've been in other anthologies. But now I want to get my stories out as part of my legacy, because I have very inspiring stories. My short stories, by the way, the book title is going to be called Dream Bigger. And it's about, I have different characters that have gone through so many trials and tribulations in their life, but they always find a way through God to come out of it and come out on top and be happy again. Because we need more happy stories in this world. I'm so tired of all the violence I see, all the horrible talk between people and social media. we need more kindness. We need love back in our lives. And so that's what I try to do. I try to inspire people to just love each other. I don't care what religion you are, what race. We're all people. We're all human,
Yeah,
And
it's funny you say that. I went to a women's thing yesterday, and we were talking about just hope in our nation right now. Our nation needs hope. And one of the things that it was really kind of a strange conversation that I've never even thought about I've never thought about this in my whole life. But the question arose is, does the Bible even mention the word color? And I don't think there's one instance in the entire Bible. The only thing it might say is this person was from this region or was of dark skin or light skin. But you know what? Dark skin could be a suntan, but we don't know what it is. So in the Bible, they don't reference people as, blacks or Caucasians or Indian. Nothing like that is referenced. And so I thought about that just to think, where in the world did we all come up with different colors and signifying you're this or you're that? And it's like, wow. And that was just really like eye-opening for me.
Yes.
Me
too, because I've never seen color. This is a funny story. I taught in this all African American school, for many years. And I was trying to remember one of my students' name. I said, the little white girl, and they goes, Miss Ward, she's not white. And I said, really? To me, I didn't notice the color. And they started laughing because you really don't see color, do you? And I said, well, no, I was just trying to think of a way to describe her. And they said, you really do love us. And I said, yes. I was in this black school and they called me Mama Ward, and I was the minority, and I taught it in 7 years. And I have a lot of African friends, and in the black African countries that call me Mama. I'm kind of like Mama to the world, I think. And I have an Egyptian family that lived with me. They're Muslims. Ramadan started yesterday. They celebrated Christmas with me and Easter. I'm not fasting, but I'm waiting till at the end of the day to eat our evening meal and all that. I'm just so open-minded because we believe in the same God, you know what I'm saying? And they're my family, and I'm just so open-minded to all cultures. But I think part of us, having been in 60 countries and having lived as a local in Egypt, has really helped me to say, we're all the same. We all have the same needs, and we're not, our cultures may be different, our religions may be different, but we're all human. In fact, I wrote a poem on humanity and what humanity is to me. I'll share that with you sometime. I think you would like it.
Thank you. Well, I'll share too a little video that my daughter-in-law caught my little 5-year-old grandson as they were as spring came. They were taking a walk through their brand new neighborhood. They just moved to a new home, and little Grady, I think he's got a little bit of OCD in him already at 5 years old, but he's so cute. And he had his big sunglasses on, and he's carrying his teddy bear, walking down the street, and he's looking around. And he says, Mom, I'm noticing that house has red bricks. And then he goes, but I wonder if it really is red, because how do you know if you're colorblind? He goes, how would you even know if the color you're seeing is the color that it is? He goes, like over there, that seems to be white, but how do I know if it's really white? Could I just see it as white, but it's not white? And it was so profound, and I think it just really pertains to what we're saying. Like, is that person really black? Do I think it's black? He's black or she's black? Could she be green? Could it be green eggs and, my green eggs? It's like
of age, right?
Yeah, and I just thought, how do people know if they're colorblind? How do you really know? Like, how do you really know? And I think, one of the biggest gifts that I was given, Randi, I was raised too in a very, very, very dysfunctional family, and my theme was in the womb that I wasn't wanted, and God's been healing that like unbelievably, which is a whole nother story. But I think one gift I got is on my 18th birthday, I packed my suitcase to leave home, never to return from the abuse, and didn't know where I was going. And I met this girl at like an emergency room, and she started talking to me and told me she knew of 2 guys that had a house in Chicago in Old Town, and that there was a spare bedroom, and if I wanted to share the room with her, we could split the rent and move in with these 2 guys. And I said, okay. I had nowhere to go. I think I had $25 in my wallet. So my first roommates right out of high school, 18 years old, were a big, tall, black male probation officer, a short, skinny, white Caucasian gay cab driver, and Kathy was a Playboy bunny at the Playboy Club and got me hired, and I turned down the job when they told me I had to wear makeup and high heels. I was okay wearing the bunny outfit, but I couldn't wear high heels and makeup because that was too feminine for me. And so we had such an unbelievable house. And then the very first couple months I lived there, we went to the Emerson, Lake and Palmer concert where we were backstage, and one of the road crew guys asked me out. And so whenever he wasn't touring with Emerson, Lake and Palmer or Black Oak, Arkansas or James Gang, he would come and stay with us. So then we had parties with rock and roll stars, Playboy bunnies, blacks and gays in the 70s. And I had like no idea that any of that was weird.
It's normal for you.
It was like this was my life, you know? And I think that was good for me because as I continued to grow up and mature, like you, I just didn't see things as different or weird. In fact, Leon had to tell me, Leon was the black male probation officer, he one day had to tell me, Jill, when you're walking down North Avenue and Wells Street in Chicago, you cannot walk west, else you will be killed. I go, what do you mean? He goes, Jill, because you're white. I go, what difference does that make? He goes, you're going to get jumped. And I had no concept of that. It was like, why do I have to be afraid? And I still challenged that. He was like, no, I'm warning you. And I just didn't have any fear.
Well, I understand. Like I said, living in Egypt during a revolution, I had no fear either. I mean, I think that's what makes us strong, Jill, is that we know who we are. I mean, sometimes maybe we take risks that we shouldn't, but at the same time, we're still here, so it didn't hurt us, right?
I know. I just about freaked out my parents when I hitchhiked around the United States at 18. I mean, I left, and things worked out fine.
It was a lot safer back then. I mean, I wouldn't do it today, maybe, but
back then, everybody, there used to be on-ramps, and you'd see like 20 people and signs that would say California, Arizona, and the driver would put in how many people they could fit in their car.
We have a lot in common, really. I think, we can be sisters soon.
Yeah, yes, definitely. Now, Randi, did you and Bill have any children of your own besides your adopted kids all over the world?
Well, okay, Mark, the son I mentioned that is the art director for Reader's Digest was my husband's from a previous marriage. I was unable to have children, but I feel like I have 5,000 kids all around the world. So, and Mark he was only 2.5 years old when I became his mom. His mother deserted them. She was German and she was young and she didn't want the responsibility of being a mother. In fact, my son didn't find her until he was like 20 years old, and he's never really met her. He doesn't really have the desire to meet her. I think she's dying now of some kind of cancer, but I've always been his mother. And he loves me as his mother, and he knows that I'm, not the birth mother, but to him, it doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter to me either. And so, again, since I couldn't have children, God blessed me with Mark.
That's a beautiful. We do have so much in common. My son doesn't know his father at all either, and my husband sounds like your Bill. My husband is the man who came in and just loved me no matter through all of my crazy stories, and he just loves my son as though he's his own. And they're really, really close, my son and my husband. So, well, this has been amazing. I would love for people to see your bio, and this is how you can find Randi and reach out to her if you need a book edited, if you'd like coaching, if you'd like someone to speak at your event. Just an amazing woman who I can't wait to get to know you. we're going to talk off screen. You're coming to Branson. You saw my place already. You're coming to Branson.
All right, I'll be there.
Oh, it's just going to be amazing, Randi. And one thing, you've said so many things. I always love, like you said, positivity. So I love to end my shows on a couple fun things. So what's one fun fact about you? You've said so many things, but a fun fact.
Okay. Well, I love to go on game drives. I've been in 9 African countries, and I've walked with cheetahs. I mean, I've played with 2 cheetahs that were 2 years old. I've fed giraffes. I have walked with lions. That was the last trip my husband and I made in March of 2019. We walked with 2 lions in Zimbabwe. I've held a panda in China. I am such an animal lover that I have no fear of them. I mean, I've ridden on elephants and camels, and I mean, I'm a crazy animal lover. And when we're allowed to travel again, I'm organizing a group of ladies and men if they want to go, and we're going to Africa and go on some more game drives, because there's nothing like seeing the animals in the wild. I mean, it'll ruin you for going to a zoo. I know the zoos protect them and they're not as safe when they're in the wild, but when you see that herd of elephants going in front of your van, it's like, wow, you know. Yeah. I mean, it's just, so that's my love. I'm a big animal lover, and like I said, I've had 4 Saint Bernards. You have to love it, dogs, right? I heard one of them barking a few minutes. She's kind of spoiled, but so the bigger the better is the way I feel about animals too. I just love them. So well, that's my funny.
When you come to Branson, you must go see the play Jesus. It's playing right now, and the Sight and Sound Theater. This is one of their best technologically produced shows they've ever had, and they love animals and treat them so good. And all of their shows have all of the animals from the Bible in them. They have donkeys and sheep and goat and birds, and the whole entire play is filled with animals. You're sitting in your seat, and coming right down the aisle come the horses and the donkeys, and you're like, you feel like you're right there in biblical days. You don't know that you're not in Jerusalem, or you'll feel like you're in Egypt. So you got to come and see Jesus. And it was so weird. I went to see it a few weeks ago, and I was sitting on the aisle and in the center, and there was one scene where Jesus comes off the stage and walks through with his disciples, and it was right after he healed the leper, or the leper, or the blind person. Mm-hmm. And right then, and that's when, you know, the people in the biblical days wanted to touch his hem. I'm telling you, I was so engrossed in the play, I wanted to reach over as he was walking down and touch his garment. I felt like I was right there.
Well, I love plays too. I mean, we both talked earlier about loving Broadway plays. I mean, I love live theater, so I've got to. Yes, I will have to book that before I come to Branson for your conference.
Well, yes. You'll do it when you're here. The play's going on when you're here. So yeah, so that's part of our register. So one more question: if with all this craziness going on in the world, people are trying to censor us. Randi, they can't censor us, but they want to. So if someone told you today, Randi, you have to delete all the apps and all the stuff on your cell phone except 2. Which 2 would you keep?
Well, I'd have to keep Facebook, because I have all those 5,000 friends that have become like family, really. I mean, I have so many young people that they call me mom, and I love them. I'm not really into some of the others that much, but I probably would keep LinkedIn, because, you know, it's the professional, but probably Facebook and LinkedIn I would keep. Okay. Instagram, it's not that important to me, but I have all of those. You know. Yeah.
So last but not least, because the Lord has led me into this event, he also led me to look up the word hope, health, and healing in the dictionary. And so I looked up, and you being a language and a teacher, you get this. I had English was one of my best courses, believe it or not. But sometimes I'd get words misconstrued, and I'd say them in the wrong sentence. So I like to look things up. So hope says to cherish a desire with anticipation, to want something to happen or to be true, like hoping for a promotion or hoping for the best. But in the Bible, hope is referenced as the confident expectation of what God has promised, and its strength is in his faithfulness. Randi, what does hope look like in 2021 for you?
Uh, well, I'm still grieving. I'm better. And I promised my husband on his deathbed, because he knew he was dying, that I would continue to dream bigger and I would not grieve the rest of my life. I would move forward. So hope is finding that Randi 100% again, because I'm not quite there. I haven't found my joy. And there's a difference between joy and happiness. I haven't found my 100% joy again, because I had that with my husband. So my hope is to find my joy completely again, and to move forward 100%. I'm just like 98%, you know what I'm saying? So that's my hope.
That's beautiful. And in the dictionary, Randi, health is defined as a complete physical, mental, and social well being, not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. But in the Bible, health is defined as 7 areas of abundant life that include, and it's referenced in John 10:10. The need to take care of them, the Bible says, is you need to look at spiritual, physical, mental, emotional, financial, occupational, and social, because each area of this is connected to others. What does health look like for you?
Okay, well, I'm having some knee issues right now. So one of my health thing is I don't want another knee replacement, because I already have one for that knee that I told you I didn't walk. So I'm going to get stem cell. I'm going to look into that very soon, now that I've gotten my second vaccine, and I'm 100% vaccinated now as of yesterday. So that's my thing. But mentally, I'm still working on 100% mental health. I'm pretty much there. I mean, I smile a lot more than I did this time last year when losing my husband. I want to get back to the gym. I want my body to be physically healthy, but until I can walk again, well, that's not going to happen. Spiritually, my spiritual health is wonderful. I mean, God gets me through so much. I mean, we can always work on that, but I mean, through prayer and all that. But spiritually, I think that's what keeps me going. Belief in God, and knowing that no matter what, even though he took my bill, I have to believe that he needed Bill more than I did, and that it was Bill's time to go, and that I have to accept that. And I did. And it took me a while to accept that, I'll be honest with you. But I know that God says, okay, he's not suffering anymore, and he's in a better place, and he wants you to do your best. And I've had some signs from Bill. I'll tell you about that in the private meeting.
Okay.
Didn't want to believe, but it was just too real. So I know that my Bill is in a better place, and he wants me to be happy again. So spiritually, I'm okay.
You know, it's no accident you and I have met, because I was in a car accident which left me permanently disabled, and I had to go on disability and retire. I had to have 2 new knees and a right hip, and when they put my right hip in, they put it, instead of the ball joint being a small one, they put 2.5 sizes all the way over on my piriformis, so my right leg doesn't work and it just drags, and it's off by an inch, and it caused my pelvis to go down and shift out. So I'm in chronic pain every single day, and they're thinking now that they might try to do my left hip with the same size ball joint, but then they stress you out, because, Randi, they say if I don't get to a BMI of under 40, they can't do the surgery. So, you know, I'm left between that rock and the hard place, and I just say, Lord, if I'm supposed to get healed here on earth, I will, and if not, you'll provide a way. But for me, this beautiful place I live, my most favorite thing that I always loved doing my whole entire life is taking long walks, and I can't walk more than 1 or 2 blocks now, and I can stand for maybe 5-10 minutes maximum. So I work in my kitchen, and and I sit on a chair that rolls. So I just roll around my kitchen because to do my cooking, because it's too hard to stand up. And it's funny, so we have the same in common, and then I think you know that I lost my sister on September 28th of pancreatic cancer, and 2 days later my beloved father died suddenly. And so it's just been a weird kind of thing, but it's, you know, God's good. God's good. We go through this, and the healing takes place. So the last one is healing, and the healing takes place. Healing. In the dictionary, healing's defined as to make free from injury or disease, to make sound or whole, like healing a wound. But the Bible calls healing as Heal me, Lord, and I will be healed. Save me, and I will be saved. For you are the one I praise. And the people all tried to touch him because power was coming from him and healing them all. And then it says, but I will restore you to health and heal your wounds, declares the Lord. What does spiritual healing mean to you?
Well, I'm going through it right now. I've been going through it since I lost my husband, because like you lost family members and you know how difficult it is. Bill and I were together 48 years. You don't get over that overnight. I mean, especially when you love the man, it's 48 years of love, not just 20 years of love and 24, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I loved him. And so the spiritual healing is an ongoing thing. But like I said, I think I'm pretty much there. I've accepted that he's in a better place, as I said earlier. And I have my Bible close to me, and I get it out and I read it. And passage says that, I don't know, it's so funny because I can open the book and there's a passage there that seems like that was meant to be. Is that strange? It's like, wow. And I read it and it goes, that's how I was feeling right now. And I'll read the passage and I'm feeling so much better. So the spiritual healing is an ongoing thing. And as long as we believe in God and trust that he has the best for us and he's going to show us the way, if we listen, if we have to listen, you can't just say, do what you want. I try to listen to what he wants.
Yeah.
Like listening in that Women's Prosperity Network and getting connected with Dr. Heather Tucker for my becoming a coach. That, I believe, was a message for God as part of my healing to move me forward out of my depression of sitting home, feeling sorry for myself, locked up in the house with my St. Bernard and nobody else being able to get in the house because of pandemic. And because of that, now I'm helping people in another way, but it also helped me to move forward. It gave me another goal, another purpose.
Yeah. And a lot of people think that healing is supposed to be the manifestation of your body physically healing. And, sometimes the healing is just within the spirit, and then there's their manifestation of healing. So I am so grateful you came on with me today, and I just want to continue our relationship, Randi. It's been a privilege getting to know you. And so for all of you that have joined us, thank you for joining the Connection Show. And please go to braveheartworkshops.com and register for the Hope, Health, and Healing Conference, August 20th to 22nd in Branson, Missouri. And thanks again, Randi, for coming on. Bye now, everyone. Thanks for joining us on the Connection Show. Let's connect now. Let's restore, renew, and reconnect in community. Enhance connection in our online connection circles. A place to meet up, gather, and feel welcomed. To join us, go to braveheartworkshops.com. Click on the Books Podcast tab, and then the Connection Circles drop down. On the pop-up, join our Connection Circles Facebook group. Our circles meet from 8 to 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Share story, topics, and laughter with men and women. To learn more about Connection Circles, go to braveheartworkshops.com. Thanks for joining us on the Connection Show, and have a great day.